What's up, guys? There's been some rumblings on the forums and stuff about the quality of the LionSpy. Um, this isn't really a review or anything. It's just kind of an overview of the knife itself, since the people were curious about it. Going to talk about the quality control and just a couple points about the knife. Like I said, it's not a review at all. It's just mainly for all the people that are wondering about the quality control. There's a few people that have done this already, but the sample size is pretty small, so I figured another opinion would be valuable. One thing I do want to comment on is they don't come in a box. They come in these really, really nice Spyderco carrying cases. I mean, they're actually very, very nice. They're lined, very, very thick padding in here, lined with this faux silk velvet. It's very soft. I don't know what it is, but it's very soft. And it would just protect your knife good. A LionSpy or whatever you want to put in here. Just your favorite Spyderco in general. I mean, it's big enough to fit a military comfortably, so I would suspect that it would fit just about any Spyderco knife, or pretty much most production knives period would fit in here. So that's cool. I like that they did that. For me, it's the little things like this. I mean, this could have cost them $2 or $3 max, and that's probably a gross overestimation, but it's just little things like this that I like. Comes with paperwork, Spyderco's new paperwork, which is customized for every knife. It used to just be the little education slip, and lately it's been coming with a little pamphlet that is actually knife specific. So that's pretty cool. It does come in a plastic bag with a tool on the outside. A lot of people were thinking the tool at the store I was at would scratch the knife, but it's on the outside, so it's not going to hurt it. The tool is for the pivot, the two teeth on the end right here for the pivot, and the spanner looking thing right here is for the pocket clip. Sorry, I had a brain fart for a second. This is the one I've kept new in box, and this is the one that is pretty much like new in box, but I mean, I've been messing with it for a while, so if I decide to sell it, I can't say it's new in box. It hasn't cut anything except paper on camera, but oh well. The knife itself, a lot of people were talking about the weight. It weighs 5 7/8 ounces, which could be heavy. If you're the nut and fancy type and anything over 4 ounces is just too heavy for some reason, then you're probably not going to like it. I do like it. It has some heft to it. I like a substantial feel. I don't like knives that feel too light for the size. The military to me is almost too light for the size, especially with this carbon fiber. This actually weighs about 10 grams less than G10. I know 10 grams is nothing, but it does weigh less. It's almost too light for the size, but the military is exempt from it for me because I like the knife so much. But I do like hefty knives. I like them to have some meat to them. And I enjoy the weight, honestly. It's not going to drag down your pants. I wouldn't think. It's not that heavy. I mean, it's, for all intents and purposes, it's 6 ounces, which a lot of people will think is heavy. But if your cutoff is 4 ounces, 6 ounces shouldn't be too much. I don't know why you would have a cutoff at 4 ounces, but think about it. Hold 2 ounces in your hand. It's almost imperceptible. I mean, 2 ounces is just at that threshold where you can actually feel weight in your hand, to me. Maybe I'm just not as sensitive as other people, but 2 ounces is nothing. Of course, if you have a knife that's 4 ounces and one that's 6 ounces, you will tell the difference. But in your pocket, I don't see how anybody could tell the difference. Before I get started, I guess I'll just do a little macro as best as I can with this camera. Bump the ISO up so you can see it's not so dark. Really thinking about getting a dedicated video camera that's nice. This is a digital SLR, and it does very good video, but it's kind of frustrating at times. Anyway, do a little shot of the knife. Very, very nice blade. It's finished really, really nicely. It does have a weird grind on it. It's convex down here and V-ground up here, and just weird. The blade has a hump in it right here. There's a high spot right here. It's thin right here, thick and thin. Thick, thin, thick, thin, thick, thin. It's weird. Never seen a knife like it. The laser etching is really, really cool. It has a black outline, and this kind of silver goldish looking interior is really, really cool. I know it's something that Lionsteel does. I've only seen it on Lionsteel knives, but I wish all Spydercos came etched like this. That it just looks gorgeous. It's very crisp and clear, and it just looks really, really good. It is made in Italy, Maniago, Italy, I think. Here's the titanium with the machining on it. Pretty even. Done pretty well. The roto block, as you can see. Little pocket clip came with some marks on it, but I'm going to get to all that later. I like the pocket clip. It's a deep carry pocket clip, as you can see. Really, really strong. And one thing I like about it is that it does not move side to side. I mean, you can press on it and it still doesn't move. So it's being held pretty securely. See if I can do this without hitting the blade. Oh, I gotta close it. Give you a shot. Here's what the pocket clip looks like. It's just slotted right here, and this slides in and the screw fastens it down. So very secure. A lot of people are talking about gap problems with the G10 and the titanium. On my two specimens, of course, these were hand-picked by me out of a group of 5, but perfect line going down the center. Perfect line. There's the stop pin that everybody's talking about. Mine is seated well. On this one, it's actually seated too far. You can see it pokes out from the G10. It's actually, I mean, it sticks out a pretty substantial amount. It's definitely, I mean, if you just rub your hand across it, you can definitely feel it. On this one that I've kept new in box, it's completely flush, and yet it's still seated nicely. Go ahead and show you the pivot in detail. Nice looking pivot. You don't have to use the proprietary tool. I use a T8 in the center. Works just fine. The pivot on this one did come marred up here. It almost looks like the teeth of a needle nose plier right there. Little scar. Not a big deal. The roto block shows some definite machining marks, and that goes for both of these. You can see the machining marks on that one. Machining marks on that one. It's probably the most obvious flaw to me. I don't like it. I don't like that at all. Blade centering on both of them is off. As you can see, it's going to look bad because this line going up the center is perfectly centered between the scales. So if something's not centered, it's going to show up very, very badly, and it does. As you can see, it's off center pretty bad. And this one is off center except the opposite way. Pivot tightness does not affect it. Lockup, very, 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 very solid. I cannot express to you how solid the lockup is, and it's at about 40%, which is perfect. It does have a steel locking face, so I don't expect. I actually think this locking face is hardened as well. Don't expect this lock to ever wear out. It will probably never go in any further. Maybe 10 to 15% through its whole life, which is negligible. To show you the locking interface, you can see that it's just barely touching on the upper corner. you can see light shining through. It's just one corner that's hitting. So if this was titanium, I would be worried about it wearing, but that steel is going to take that stress pretty well, I would imagine. On both of these, the lock is so strong that it hurts my hands. I mean, I'm not one to complain about a knife hurting, but this, honestly, is ridiculous. It is so strong. Comparing it to like the trigger pull on a Glock, which is about 8 pounds roughly, this feels like I'm putting 30 or 35 pounds of pressure on my thumb. I mean, it's honestly painful to do it. I don't know if you can see, but it leaves definite indentions into my thumb. It is very painful. It's honestly way too strong to just sit here and manipulate the knife all day. You would wear your thumb out within minutes. The lock, I think, is so strong due to how thick the cutout is down here. I don't have a way to measure it, but it is fairly substantial. And also, I think somebody bent this particular one in way too far. It's just way too strong. Way too strong. The roto block does work. Tension on it's nice. One thing I have noticed is that the way the roto block mechanism is set up, I'll try and show it to you. I don't know if I'll be able to get that shot. But you can see right, I don't have a pointer, but right there where the tip of my thumb is, that's what stops the roto block from overextending. And you can see right in there where the tip of my thumb is, right there is where a little piece prevents the lock bar from moving over. In this particular knife, it's not perfect, the surface, or it doesn't mate up perfectly, so you can move the lock bar over just ever so slightly before it catches the roto block. Not a problem, honestly, because the lock is where it's at right now, but if the lock ever wore in further, the roto block would still be useful, but it would be very annoying because the lock is still going to move out. It's going to stop at the roto block. But if the lock face has worn, then you're going to have loads of up and down blade play. It's either going to be in the locked position or in the unlocked position hitting the roto block with tons of vertical play. I don't like that. I think the roto block could be redesigned and be self-adjusting somehow, and it would be awesome then. But as it is now, will it prevent the blade from folding? Yeah, but it won't prevent the inevitable up and down play if you're really using the knife and really depending on the roto block. The specimen that I kept new in box, when you spin the roto block, it mates up with the lock pretty much perfectly, and you cannot move the lock over at all. None. So when the roto block's engaged at this moment, you can't move the lock bar, unlike the other one. That's just a little bit of grease. They lubed this one from the factory. The other one didn't come lubed, which is a little bit strange. This one, as far as lock bar tension, if this is 30 pounds, this is 20. It's a lot better than the other one, but still extremely strong. Extremely strong. And this one is much smoother than this one. They're both smooth, as in there's no grittiness or catches in the action, but as far as ease of closing the blade and ease of opening, this one is much smoother than this one. And I think that's due to the sheer amount of force that this lock bar is putting on the blade from the detent ball, because that detent is riding on the blade, and it's just kind of making the blade stiff to close. It's still extremely smooth, like it's riding on glass, but it's not as easy to close as the other one, and it's got to be due to the pressure on that lock bar. Overall, it's a good knife. I think people were expecting custom quality out of these knives, and you're just not going to get it at this price point. I think these are $280. I did a flat trade for these knives, so I don't know exactly what they were charging for them, but you're not going to get custom quality without paying a custom price, and I just don't think these are at the price level that customs are. As you can see, the gap back here is non-existent. So if you get these and you're expecting a knife that's perfect in every way, you'll probably be disappointed. If you're getting this knife and you're expecting a really well-made titanium frame lock with a steel locking face, a nice low rod pocket clip, and a huge chunk of Elmax for a blade, then I think you'll be happy. It's a very comfortable knife, very comfortable. I like the broad shape right here, the thinness right here. It's very comfortable in my hands. A lot of knives are too thin and too chunky width-wise. I don't like that. I do like the grip here. The jimping is what I would call just barely functional. It's kind of flat. Honestly, not all that functional, in my opinion. It is fairly evenly ground though, as far as jimping goes. I've seen a lot worse. A lot worse. So, anyway, this isn't a review. Like I said, it's just an overview of the quality and my thoughts on it. Still not exactly sure what I'm going to do with these. Don't know if I'm going to sell. Don't know if I'm going to keep. So it's going to be a little while before I know, I think. But I will do a review on these if you guys want to see it. I may just man up and use one for a little while so I can give a review and tell you my thoughts if you're interested in that. So let me know. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time.